My name is Sally Kutsiliotis and I'm a faculty member at Bucknell University. As someone at a liberal arts institution, the cover letter plays an important role in the application process. Most postdocs are unfamiliar with undergraduate institutions, and so the role of the cover letter is for me to try and understand why they think that they would be a good fit for my school. And as you will hear, different institutions view the cover letter differently. The cover letter is when I look at it, I say, why is it of all the places you're applying, you want to come to a place like Bucknell? And if it doesn't address it there, I pretty much give it a really low score. In fact, sometimes I don't even, depending on what they say in the cover letters, I don't read past the cover letter. You know, if it starts off, "Dear Sirs," it's out. Okay.
Are cover letters important? How important? The research statement, the CV, that all varies from person to person on the screening committee. Some people ignore cover letters. Other people treat them like Sally does, saying that they really want to see in their cover letter that this person knows they're applying for this particular job. So because there are people like that, I think you have to treat the cover letter as extremely important.
Well, can I add, depending on the place that you want to go to, because a lot of people who apply to liberal arts colleges may not actually know what it's really like. And so it's not like, you know, they've come from a big, you know, state school and they want to apply to a state school. I wouldn't care about the cover letter so much because they know what they're getting into. But sometimes getting into a liberal arts college, it's not kind of what you have maybe experienced before, and I want to see evidence that you're aware of what you're getting yourself into. And the cover letter allows me to do that.
Well, I talked to the current department chair yesterday on the phone just to you know, catch up and see how things had changed. And he said that for him, the cover letter was extremely important. He wanted to know why, if someone in a research university postdoc was interested in teaching at Cal Poly, which has a high teaching load, and some research expectation, but not the research expectation of the sort of universities that the postdocs are typically coming from. And that's who Cal Poly is generally hiring.
Okay, the way I see it is coming to a liberal arts institution is very different than most people have seen. Like most postdocs may not have experienced a liberal arts environment. And so I want to see some evidence somewhere in the application material where that person has at least spoken to someone and is aware of what it means to be at a liberal arts. It can happen, the most natural place is the cover letter. It doesn't have to be, but that's where I usually find it because that's sort of open-ended, whereas the other stuff is more standard. That's the same materials, your teaching statement, your research statement will all be kind of the same for whatever place you apply. It's the cover letter that's different from place to place. But if it comes about somewhere else, then I'm happy to look at it there. Yeah. Some people have come from a liberal arts background and say, you know, having come from a liberal arts background, it seems like this is the direction I would like my career to go, or this is the balance of teaching and research that I am looking for. I really find it very hard. I'd like to see people's personalities coming through and what they're looking for. And so that's one way. If you're not familiar with the liberal arts, saying something like, you know, I'm particularly attracted to a liberal arts setting because I do want to find a balance between teaching and research, so that I think, oh, they actually know that they're going to be doing some teaching. And if you say teaching and research and not research and teaching, that says something else.
Luke, could you address?
Yeah, I don't think.
Let me address. I didn't say anything about cover letters, but I usually don't read them at all.
Let me add that actually that's the way I felt. I didn't pay much attention to cover letters. I regard them as formalities. So I'm telling you though that other people do.
Something particular to
other people do. Yeah.
I think it is because of this quirkiness. It's kind of an odd, you know, it's sort of not your standard place. So you want people to indicate that yes, I know what I'm getting myself into.
But you don't expect like 2 pages.
No, cover letter should be like, you know, 3 paragraphs.
1 page.
Yeah, 1 page, sparse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go immediately to the CV and the research statement and look at the letters.
I mean the letters of recommendation.
Yes.
Yeah, some cover letters, they just repeat what's already in the other material, and I find that a big waste.
So I was kind of in between. Sometimes I paid attention to a cover letter and sometimes I didn't. But if there were obvious mistakes in the cover letter, if you said, I'm really interested in coming to, with a parentheses and you forgot to put in the name, or if you have the name of the university that you just sent that letter to, and
You didn't change it?
Change it. Misspellings, bad grammar, that kind of stuff really bothers me.
One thing I think is really important that I didn't appreciate when I was in your shoes is what these hiring committee is really looking for. They're not looking for, some of them are looking for top-notch researchers, but at a small liberal arts place, we're looking for a colleague. We're looking for someone who we're going to see every day next door, down the hall, and work with for like 30 years. And you want that person to be someone you can work with and you can depend upon. So, you don't want to be able to, you're putting a proposal together with this person and they've got typos all over the place. That would be a horror. And so you sort of steer clear of those people. So you're looking for the whole, colleague. It's not just a teacher or a researcher.
Well, it's a combination of things, but being described as a good department citizen means that you are flexible. You can teach a wide range of courses. Math departments are generally not as specialized as other sciences, so that we would expect anybody coming to Cal Poly to be able to teach just about any undergraduate math course, including algebra and analysis. People certainly tend to specialize, but it seems to me that there's still this common belief that you can teach any undergraduate course, even courses you didn't necessarily take yourself. So I think that flexibility is one thing. Looking like you're interested in continuing to do research and able to continue to do research is important. Again, at a place like Cal Poly, we had independent studies required of all students for a bachelor's degree. And so they required supervision, and those have some research aspect to them. So being able to supervise in undergraduate research projects is important. Being willing to do some service, serving on committees and so on, even at the assistant professor level, that tends to get heavier after tenure, but we look for that kind of willingness. So ability to get along with people.
In the selection process, it is extremely important that the person will be a good citizen, somebody who contributes, and somebody who is going to, be part of the community. We don't, if you are going to be, sit in your office alone, not get along with anybody, those people get eliminated for these reasons. So it is really important to be able to connect to people and be a good citizen and willing to do your share of service. Everybody has to do service and really be a good colleague. That's extremely important.
All right, I confirm that that's awful too. It sort of rubs you the wrong way.
But there's an intention there. How can they get their intention across better?
Well, I would say showing a genuine interest, saying, having spoken or having interacted with people at a liberal arts environment, or having, just describing what a liberal arts institution is, and then talking about how you're excited about it. I think people, especially, mathematicians, they're very cautious about exposing their excitement, and you want your personality. You don't have to be jumping up and down, but just sort of showing that you are interested and your personality sort of comes through. I think the cover letter is the place where that can happen, and sort of, it's hard for me to do it cold. I would have to look at what you're trying to say, but there's good ways to say something and bad ways to say something, and that was a bad way to say something. It's this presumptuousness which how can you're going to tell me why you're so good at our place that you haven't even stepped foot on, right? It's it's very delicate, and you have to be very careful, because one of the things that you don't want to come across as doing is saying, I want to come here and I want to teach only the courses I want to teach, and I don't want to teach the icky calc one, and so. But you can do it in different ways. You can say, I've enjoyed teaching calculus, but I would really love the opportunity to develop some other courses that I can talk about in my teaching part or whatever. You can show enthusiasm without sort of coming across as being too presumptuous. you know, it's the way that you say it. So it's sort of tweaking the cover, the wording, but that really plays a big role. That's the sort of thing that I think, oh, this person, I see where they're coming from, and I think they, you know, they've gone to some effort. They seem to be interested, and so I would put you in a good pile.
I would find that kind of presumptuous.
Okay.
It would rub me the wrong way to have the cover letter say, I see that you don't have a course in this and I'd like to.
Oh no, I
one."
wouldn't say that. So we say, I'm excited that you are able to offer a variety of different courses, and that really attracts me to your institution. Meaning, I would like to teach one of my own
Yeah,
very different kind of courses.
that's fine.
It's the way that you say it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I would probably not put it in the letter, but keep it for the Skype interview.
Yeah.
Or,
Okay.
that's, yeah.
That's where it would come out naturally in our hiring process, is it in the phone interview.